One of the most successful innovations in office equipment history, the IBM Selectric typewriter revolutionized the way we work. Its iconic spinning ball printhead, nicknamed the golf ball, helped define the modern office. But as groundbreaking as it was for business, it also became an unsuspecting tool for Cold War espionage. Today, let's look at the fascinating story of how this typing marvel was turned into a device for Soviet spying. By 1978, the IBM Selectric had captured 94% of the electric typewriter market, and for good reason. Until its debut in 1961, typewriters were based on technology dating back to the late 1800s. Most machines had a cylindrical pattern that moved back and forth with type bars that swung to hit the paper. This could jam when multiple keys were struck, and the carriage could sometimes misalign the paper. IBM's breakthrough came with the Selectric, which replaced the type bars with a rotating and tilting spherical element, which was likened to a golf ball. This design eliminated jamming issues and did away with the moving carriage altogether. The result? Smoother, faster typing and a cleaner, more professional appearance of the documents. The Selectric also offered typists the ability to change fonts, alphabets, and even special characters by swapping out the typing element, further enhancing productivity and flexibility in their office. The Selectric also had an early digital-to-analog converter in its latch interposers, which controlled the arms of a whiffletree mechanism. This then controlled the rotation and tilt of the printhead. But this revolutionary piece of technology had an unexpected dark side. Its widespread use in government and diplomatic offices made it an ideal target for espionage during the Cold War. As tensions between the U.S. and the Soviet Union escalated, the Soviets saw an opportunity.
In another U.S.-Soviet development, Pentagon correspondent David Martin has been told how Soviet secret police in Moscow have been getting the latest word on sensitive U.S. embassy documents even before U.S. officials read them.
Informed sources tell CBS News that for at least 1 year and probably longer, the American embassy in Moscow was the victim of a sophisticated electronic spy operation, which gave Soviet leaders an inside look at what U.S. diplomats were doing and planning. Soviet agents secretly installed tiny sensing devices in about a dozen embassy typewriters. The devices picked up the contents of documents typed by embassy secretaries and transmitted them to antennas hidden in the embassy walls. The antennas in turn relayed the signals to a listening post outside the embassy. The typewriters were in use from 1982 until the operation was uncovered in 1984. However, intelligence experts now think Moscow was running an earlier version of the same operation. An antenna discovered in the cleanup after this 1978 fire now appears to have been part of that earlier operation. Depending on the location of the bugged typewriters, the Soviets were able to receive copies of everything from routine administrative memos to highly classified documents. One intelligence officer said the potential compromise of sensitive information should be viewed with, quote, considerable seriousness. Another intelligence expert said no one knows for sure how many or what secrets were compromised. A third official called the entire affair a fiasco.
Officials say they do not know exactly how the Russians managed to install the bugs. These same officials also say the bugs might still be in place had it not been for a warning from a friendly government whose own embassy had been the target of a similar eavesdropping operation. David Martin, CBS News, The Pentagon.
In March 1985, the world learned that Soviet intelligence had successfully infiltrated the U.S. Embassy in Moscow by planting electronic bugs inside Selectric II typewriters. These bugs captured keystrokes and transmitted information back to Soviet agents. The technology behind the Soviet bugging operation was both simple and ingenious. Embedded inside many Selectric typewriters was an electronic bug that tracked the movement of modified interposers. Every time a key was pressed, it would record the keystroke and transmit it. Then, using probability tables, the Soviets could decode what was written. These bugs were concealed so well that they only could be detected by X-rays. The Soviets used a metal bar inside the typewriter to house the electronics with magnetometers that tracked the magnetic disturbance caused by each keystroke. The bug then transmitted data in short bursts, cleverly disguising these signals within the 30, 60, or 90 megahertz frequency of Soviet television broadcasts. Unless you've handled one of these, especially the Selectric 2 or 3s, it's easy to forget how big and massive these devices are. This is pushing 40 pounds, maybe a little bit more. It's all metal. It's an incredibly well-constructed device. And, it's amazing that, one, the Soviets are able to come up with this given the electromechanical nature of the machine, but also, it's said that a trained KGB or Soviet agent can make this modification in about 30 minutes per machine. And given how big they are, how cumbersome it is to work with, it's pretty impressive. So let's open this up and take a look outside. If you've never seen inside one of these, it is truly a engineering marvel given the electromechanical state of it. We do have AC coming in. There is a motor there that drives all the belts. And then after that, it's taking my mechanical inputs, putting it through the wiffle tree on the bottom, and then moving our type head. So let's flip this up on its side and take a look at where the Soviets would have added this bug. Now, this is the bottom of the Selectric in all of its electrical mechanical glory. I mean, look at this thing. This is great. We have the AC motor down here. We have our pulley. We have our clutch mechanism. All of your latch interposers are here. This is the wiffle tree down here. And these are all of the bales. So if we turn it on, you hear the motor. We see that belt spinning. Everything's working as it should. We're getting no inputs right now. But as I type, the bales, the interposer, and the wiffle tree will all move. And as that's moving, what we're doing is we're taking those keystrokes and we are moving this typeface up and down, left and right, incredibly quickly to imprint the letters that we want. So what did the Soviets do? Well, it said that did this in 30 minutes, right? You'd unbox it, take it out. You would replace this bar up here. Let's turn this off. I don't know how loud the motor is, but we're going to turn it off. So they would replace this supporting bar up here. And they would monitor the movement of these latch interposers. So every time you would type a key, the bale would move, which would then move the latch interposers. That directly correlated to the wiffle tree movement, which moved the bale. Now, the amazing thing about this is the Soviets took what would have been 6 or 8 bits and compressed it down, or 6 bits of this, and compressed it down to 4 bits, mainly because of how their computers were able to deal with things. But that meant a couple things. One, because of the location of the bug, you wouldn't get some special characters. Shift, space, backspace, tab, stuff like that. All of that was done down here in this location. And because the bug was up here, you didn't catch any of this movement. But because we don't have shift, now you're missing the $sign, %sign, brackets, stuff like that. So between taking 6 bits down to 4 bits and missing some of these special characters, they had to use probability tables. Because you got most of the letters that you would need, but you didn't get everything. You only got what these latch interposers would move, not your special characters down here. So if you would look at a string of text, sometimes C and U would be interchangeable. So you'd have to use the probability to determine, did I want a C or did I want a U? At the end of the day, it's a lot more information than what you had before. And even using probability tables and a little bit of your imagination, you can figure out exactly what the intention of the document to be made was. It took almost 8 years before the U.S. finally uncovered the extent of the operation. In 1984, the National Security Agency attempted to uncover the Soviet plot with Operation Gunman after a foreign government warned the U.S. that their own embassy equipment had been compromised by a similar eavesdropping operation. The NSA, under Lieutenant General Lincoln Farrar, launched a top-secret mission to inspect and replace every piece of electronic equipment inside the U.S. Embassy in Moscow. This involved removing and replacing 11 tons of office equipment without raising the suspicion of the Soviet government. All movement would need to take place under the guise of diplomatic pouches and not normal means of transportation. NSA agents worked around the clock to examine each piece of equipment in search of bugs, and then, on July 23, 1984, the breakthrough came. An NSA technician discovered an extra coil hidden inside the power switch of an IBM Selectric 2 typewriter. The X-rays confirmed the bug, telling us that the Soviets have been capturing information for years. Despite its unattended role in espionage, the IBM Selectric remained a technological triumph. The typewriter's innovative design solved many of the challenges typists have faced for decades. IBM's investment in research transformed the world of office equipment. The golf ball type element was molded from plastic, chrome-plated for durability, and designed to strike the perfect balance between efficiency and precision. The Selectric's ability to switch fonts and type languages by simply swapping out the ball paved the way for IBM's transition into the world of processors and personal computers. Many Selectrics were converted to teletype machines, and IBM eventually offered a Selectric-based terminal. The legacy of Operation Gunman had a profound impact on diplomatic safekeeping. In the wake of the discovery, the U.S. government overhauled embassy security, introducing stricter measures for handling electronic equipment. This incident also exposed how even the most mundane tools, like a typewriter, can be exploited by foreign intelligence. The IBM Selectric II was more than just a revolutionary typewriter. It was a symbol of technological innovation, but also a reminder of the ever-present danger of espionage in the Cold War. Let me know what you think about this dive into the IBM Selectric, personally one of my favorite typewriters. If you like what we're doing here at RTOD, like, subscribe, tell your friends, and we'll catch you next time.